Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, I want to talk about what I've been up to. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from YouTube, but I want to get back out there, get back on the horse, and get back to making some videos. So I've been off for about a month from YouTube. I haven't really put too many videos out. Needed a little bit of a break, and there were some other things that I needed to take care of and needed to focus on for a little bit. And I'm glad to report to you guys that I was able to do that. I was able to pass a test that I've been trying to pass all year long for a licensed builder. I have been studying for this test and taking this test all year long and failing to be a residential builder, a licensed residential builder. The reason that I want this license is because I want to have the ability to do more jobs, bigger jobs, things that I can use my big dump trailer for a lot more. And it's going to be very interesting. Hopefully I'll again have a little bit of time to get around to some of these new jobs, new opportunities. But basically the residential builder's license will allow me to do any job that's over $600 to a residential structure here in Michigan. So kind of a interesting license to have. It's kind of like a jack of all trades type of license. Usually it's basically a general contractor, and usually that's what is done with the license, is a general contractor type of license. But what I would like to be able to do is maybe some concrete work where that is licensed work, and you have to have this type of license to do this type of work on a residential structure. And also too, it'll give me the ability to not have so much downtime in the winter. That's not a good deal for me. It's having downtime. But nonetheless, I was able to take the month off. I studied for it, finally passed, and it took me like 3 or 4 times of trying in order to pass this test, and just taking the time off and being able to study, I did pass. So that's done. Will I actually get around to using that residential builder's license this year? I'm not sure. We'll see how labor and staffing goes, and I might get overwhelmed this year anyway with other work. So this whole license thing is definitely a long game, a long play. But at least I know I didn't give up, and I was able to actually get the license, and it's all said and done now. So whatever we end up doing with it, we'll end up doing. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. We had a lot of snow the last couple of days. We had a big snowfall. It was like 8 inches of snow, but it was heavy. It probably was like really 10 or 11 inches of snow, but the warm ground and some of the temperatures meant that the actual depth of the snow instantly just became less, became like 8 inches, but heavy. And I did a live video when I was plowing that particular storm. And it's interesting because I actually got called out in the comment section by somebody who said, man, you can't plow snow and it took you too long and all that. And I think I even said that at the start of the video. There's always going to be somebody that's going to hate and say that you can't plow and all that. And maybe they're right. I don't know. But unless you know the conditions that we're dealing with, then it's hard to really pass judgment. What we're dealing with is just this heavy, wet snow where it was just hard to push. But with that storm, I ended up working like 35 hours straight. And I really wish I was recording, because it was a lot of fun, and a lot of funny things happened. A lot of funny things were said and stuff like that. And especially when the night got real long and we were real tired, that's when the magic kind of happened. But I didn't film. I just was so focused on getting the work done. And sometimes that happens when it comes to filming with snow. I did film, I think, a little one time, but even that was kind of like broken up, where it's not necessarily cohesive or anything. It's kind of like I do my best to film, but there's so many things going on. But anyway, I got the dump trailer here right now in the winter because I have to tend this battery. I really need another solution here, like a solar charger or something like that. But when this sits out, we're getting some cold snap right now. It's getting real cold outside. And if this trailer just sits out here when it's like real cold, then the battery dies and I have to buy a new battery. So I'm trying to avoid that. It's here plugged in. Where I keep it stored, there's no charger. So it's here right now, just plugged in, and the truck charged it up on the way here. What I've been having happen is this trailer still pops my fuse in my truck. So the last time it popped was about 3 weeks ago when I had it here to charge, and I took it to the car wash and waxed the underbody of it or whatever. I lifted it up, but the battery was maybe a little low, and it blew the fuse in my truck when it lifted up. So there needs to be a better system here in order to prevent it from blowing a fuse in my truck, especially when you lift it. Maybe for whatever reason this looks like it's my main charging wire, and for some reason they connect it to the motor. Maybe they should move it over here to the battery instead of putting it right on the motor. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that, but maybe this wiring here could definitely be upgraded. I know it's a little bit loose right there, and I had to recrimp it, so maybe it's a little bit too much draw from the battery, not being the best wiring from the battery. And ultimately, I do want to install a solid connection, maybe like a 0 gauge wire that goes all the way from here to the battery, and I can plug it in. So even in the event of a total battery failure, battery theft, anything like that, then I could at least still run the trailer. I think like a 0 gauge wire would have no problem lifting this bed up. Running the distance to the battery shouldn't be an issue. But other than that, this trailer's been doing pretty good. And like I was saying with that builder's license, I would really like to put this thing to the maximum use. So if you follow the channel, then you know that we've put grass and leaves and stuff like that in there. That's all fine and dandy, but this girl can handle a lot more than what I've been putting it through. And stay tuned to the channel, because maybe we'll be doing some cool stuff here. So with this truck here, the 2019 250, it's been performing pretty much not so good. This truck has not been doing good. So one day it was the day of the storm. Like, it was the beginning of that night or that morning, and it didn't start snowing yet, but we knew the snow was coming. We knew it was in the forecast. I get in this truck and I take it to go grab a coffee. I get in it, the freaking radio isn't working. So I'm like, what the heck? So I'm messing with the radio. I'm pulling apart like the panels and checking fuses and stuff. No radio whatsoever. I take off the kick plate cover, and the truck is full of water. Like, the whole seal is full of water. Now, I do have the drain holes in there and everything. If you follow the channel, you know what I'm talking about. But with those drain holes, they got full of dirt and the truck filled with water. And we had a long stint of rain. Like, it rained for days and the truck just filled up. I'm like, what the heck? So the driver's side seal was full of water, and there were some other things going on with the truck. And I corrected the water. I drained it out, but it's still inadvertently soaked in salt water. Like, the whole harness soaked up with salt water. And it just was a mess. So I drained it out. I took apart the loom of wire, dried out all the wires. I was able to get, so the truck, I was able to drain, first of all, I drained the water out, but then I sent it. And the guys took the truck. Everything worked, but then the heat stopped working in the truck. Literally no heat. And you can't even run this with no heat. Like, no radio is one thing. No heat is a no-go. So I took it apart. I brought it home after that day. I messed with it. I cleaned everything up, dried everything out, took the loom apart, dried out the loom. The heat came back, but the radio never came back. So I got to figure that out. Before I could really do anything, I have to figure out, no ifs, ands, or buts, I have to figure out where the water is getting in here. And this has just been going on since new. I've always been getting busy, unable to actually address the root cause of the water. Yes, I put the hole in it so it can get out, but really that's not the solution, considering water is still getting in here. And the drain hole eventually clogged. And yeah, so that just comes with being just overly busy and not worrying about something that's not an immediate issue, and it came back to bite me. So when I had the chance to sell this, I should have sold it. I should have kept my baby, but now I'm stuck fixing on this. This thing costs me so much money to keep beyond, and it's not an old truck or a bad truck or anything like that, but keeping it this long is something that I haven't done. I mean, I've always gotten rid of them after this amount of time, and now this is when you I usually get rid of a truck by the time you got to start putting batteries in it. I just put two new batteries in this thing, $480 later. Then now, as I'm starting to fix on it, I got to do a full maintenance. I might as well just have the new truck or whatever other truck, the 450 or whatever. So I got to figure out what's going on. I got to figure out how this windshield, I'm leaning toward the windshield being the culprit. I think it's the windshield leaking. I got some tricks that I want to do to try to test that theory out to see if I can figure out where on the windshield is leaking, but it has to be the windshield because this truck fills up with water and there's no moisture on the A-pillar. It's like it's not coming from the cab lights. So I'm going to have to do a deep dive on what is actually leaking. I kind of messed with it before years ago, but I ended up just drilling a drain hole because I just didn't have the time. So I got to really get in here and figure this out, and I can't keep pushing it off. But it still got us through. It still didn't break down or nothing like that, really. And it got the job done. So the radio didn't work. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe when guys are working, they don't need all that radio anyway. So one thing, though, that did work out really nice is the snowblower rack that I put on the back here that I custom fabbed out myself, built it out myself, and it worked freaking good, flawlessly. So on my F350, I had to hook up to a trailer in order to haul the 3 machines just to do the houses that we do. So that was like not a big deal. We only did houses for like 2 or 3 hours with both trucks going, and then we were back on commercial lots. But having this setup was so clutch. It was so fast to already have those machines on to switch tasks from houses to commercial plowing and to just have those 2 machines. And a lot of guys run like the smaller power clear snowblower, but we're able to run the full size 21 inch. Some guys run like a 20 inch or something a little bit smaller. We ran the big ones, the bigger ones. This is about the best snowblower you could get for snow in general. I mean, these are cool. I kind of wish I would have brought this out because it's heavy duty for wet, heavy snow, which is what we had. But and that would have been the one storm, and I could have got it with my enclosed. I wasn't thinking, but this here, having 2 of these is pretty good. Man, you can do a house like this, like what I got, in about 7-8 minutes. If 2 of these are running and a guy's running a shovel. So we had 2 of these running, a guy on a shovel. We blew through our houses real fast, so we got back to our commercials real quick. And yeah, having this thing saved me. It was good. There was no problems. Strapped up good, no problem. You have to run a ratchet strap. The guy there's a guy that works with me. He knows how to rig stuff up. I wasn't even around when he rigged this up. I was in another part of town. I said, hey, have Devin rig it up. I trust him to tie it up. He strapped it up. What he did is he put one ratchet strap from this side, wrapped around both machines, and then strapped it up with one strap. He made one strap hold both. They didn't move 1 inch. So yeah, you can plow and salt with the machines. 2 guys can jump out, clear walks for a commercial while the truck's plowing. It only extends past the spreader about 4 or 5 inches. And yeah, I've been pretty impressed with this whole thing. It saved me. It worked good. There was no issues. Not a problem carrying the weight. This machine probably weighs 70 pounds and no factor for this thick of a metal gauge. But only time will tell how this holds up. The real question is, how will salt react with aluminum? I do not believe salt is too corrosive with aluminum. The question is calcium chloride. I do like to run some calcium chloride when it gets real cold, and we're kind of in that calcium chloride temperature right now. Will the calcium chloride attack the aluminum, and how fast does it attack aluminum? Guess we'll have to find that out. So if it gets a significant amount of its material eaten away by calcium chloride, that'll be an issue. If it just attacks the surface a little, not too much of a factor. So this is going to be an ongoing experiment. I'm going to continue to add stuff to this design, but so stay tuned for that. But all in all, yeah, had a big snowfall. Everything's going good. Family's all good. Everybody's happy, healthy. Just needed to take a little quick break from YouTube just to focus on things and really to reevaluate, my approach here. I like to post every day, and I don't know, sometimes it don't really work for me. So just taking a little break there and just really letting the channel just do its own thing. After a while, like I take a month off of YouTube and the videos and stuff kind of do their own thing, and whatever, the cream kind of rises to the top with as far as the channels and the way the algorithm's working. So I don't know, sometimes it just needs a break. But passed my test. So how I passed the test for the residential builder's license, the general contracting license here in Michigan. How did I pass, guys? You'll never believe. The reason I passed the test is because I was playing video games while studying. That's why I passed. I just wanted to throw that in there. The only reason I was able to study that much material and barely passed, don't even get me wrong, I barely passed. But the only reason I was able to study that kind of material for that long is 40 hours, video game, headset, and studying. So anyway, guys, that's it. Stay tuned to the channel. I want to do some towing stuff with these trucks, so stay tuned. But thank you for watching. My name is Sean. This is DS. See you in the next time. Over and out.